All right, brothers and sisters, it's time to practice arrays. So I've got the chapter 10 on arrays up here. I'm going to do program number 7, and this is, we'll call it the rotate right program. Okay, you can see an example array here. It's got 5 numbers in it, 17, then 8, then 9, then 5, then 20. The whole purpose of the program is to take an array of any size and take each element in the array and rotate it to the right. Okay, so you can see here that these arrays are very similar, except 17 is in the first position in this program, whereas in this array, 17 is in the second position in this array. Then 8, then 8, then 9, then 9, then 5, but 20, the thing that was in the last position, is now in the first position. So you can see how everything was bumped one space to the right, and the last element was shoved forward. Okay, so we need to write a program that's going to do this for an array of any size. I've got my HTML page over here. It's a very simple page. It's just got a button that calls a function, and then I have my rotate right function. Keep in mind, this week and last week, we only need to submit the function that we're being asked to write. That's very different from the previous weeks where we had to submit an HTML page. You could get away just submitting the functions that you're asked to write. Okay? But in order to help you test, I recommend doing an HTML page. So, very first, let's talk about what we will do. Okay, I want an example array. So I will create one here, and I'm going to use the array from the reading, 17, 8, 9, 5, and 20. Okay, so there is our example array. Okay, I want to be able to call my rotate right array and store the return in a variable. And I want to be able to verify this, so once I get my array back, I'm going to loop through this array, the result array, and I'm going to produce a string and put it in a pop-up. Okay? So grab the element out of result at I, which is going to count up from 0 to the length of the array, or just one under. And we also want to add a comma in here. But we only want to do this if we haven't reached the end of the array. Okay, and then we just want to pop that up. Right now, let's make our rotate right function just return the array, just so we can test our test code here. So I've got an example array, 17, 8, 5, 9, 17, 8, 9, 5, and 20, and I'm expecting to see a pop-up here with the same. Okay, and I apparently have an error. So let's check it out. Unexpected end of input on line 27. Oh, we're missing a closing curly brace for our do rotation function. Okay. There we go. Undefined. Not what we were expecting. Okay, let's step through. Okay, here's our example array. The example array result holds. Result holds a function. So we've got a problem here. I'm going to go ahead and continue that. Oh, little nuance of JavaScript. You can return a function. A variable can hold a function. It was returning a function because I returned rotate right instead of rotate B. My mistake. Okay, 17, 8, 9, 5, and 20. We are now in prime position for solving this problem. Okay, what do we need to do here? So I took some time before writing this program to figure out just exactly what I needed to do. This is a tough problem, but I know now that what we need to do, anytime you work with arrays, you're probably going to be working with loops. Okay, so we need a loop. We have written lots of loops so far, and I'm going to loop from 0 until just under the length of the array. And the reason I do that is because the array has an index that's 0 based. So if an array has 10 items, or if, in other words, if the length is 10, it's going to have an index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I want to start counting at 0, and I want to stop counting at just 1 less than the length. Okay, so what I need to do here, I need to take this array, and I need to shift everything right. 17 is in index position 0. It needs to go to index position 1, but 8 is there. So I need to be able to put values to the right without overwriting the value. Okay, and this is difficult. So what I'm actually going to do is work backwards. Okay, before I start my loop, I'm going to pull out the last element in the array, right? Because I need to save that for later. Then I'm going to loop through, starting from the backwards. So instead of setting to 0, I'm going to set to result.length -1. Okay, and then I'm going to say while I is greater than 0, subtract 1. So let's talk about the change that just happened here. Okay, we are going to start our counting variable. In this case, the length is 5, so we're going to start at length -1, 4. While 4 is greater than 0, do some stuff and then subtract 1. So the counter is going to go 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And once we get to 0, 0 is not greater than 0, so we'll bail out of the loop. Okay? We're going to start at the back. We're going to take an element. We're going to shove it in the spot that is 1 previous to where we currently are, and then we're going to move forward. And we're going to grab the next element, put it where we currently are, and then we're going to move forward. So let's do this. Okay, we're starting at the back. So I want to take the current element, and I'm going to say, actually I want the next element. And I will go to rotate me, and I will say I -1, because if we're at index 4, we want to get the thing at index 3. So we take where we currently are at -1. Okay, then we're going to say, now that I have that element, I'm going to store at where I'm currently at, I'm going to store the element that was next. Okay, so let's see what this does. Make sure we get a return here. Let's save, refresh the page. And we've got an error. So let's see what we got here. Result is not defined. Whoops. Okay, here we go. So 17,895. So we're just about there. We shifted everything to the right one, except we didn't do anything with this first index, okay? So we've repeated the element at index 0 twice. So I would expect 20 to be in that spot. So all we need to do is, before the loop begins, let's just get the last element. Take the length of the array, subtract 1, and then use that as an index to go into the array and grab the last element. Okay, then we'll loop through and shift everything right. Then we should just be able to say rotate me at the first position. Let's shove in the last element. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. Close developer tools. Let's refresh the page. Okay, and we've got it. 17,895 and 20 has been shifted, everything one space to the right. So we have 20, 17,895. Let's make sure that this works with arrays of lots of different sizes. Okay, save that change, refresh the page, and here we go. 24, the last element, was shifted to the front, and then everything else was shifted one to the right. Okay, so here are those. That's a complicated program. Like I said, I had to write this out before I began this video to make sure that I understood the problem. But you should know that when you're working with arrays, you'll need to use loops. You'll need to think zero-based elements. And that's a difficult thing for humans to do because we start counting with 1, but computers start counting with 0. So I hope this practice video helps you in your programs this week.